UFC Fight Night Vegas 118, Muhammad versus Bonfim just took place, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card. And this one had a lot of finishes. Belal came up short in the main event, but the prelims were a lot better than the main card overall in terms of finishes. So let's start straight away with the early prelim. And Bryce Mitchell got a big win. We're going to be talking about that. I'm so happy. The saving grace of the card, in my opinion, Bryce Mitchell's sensational victory in the third round by submission. Who called that one happening? Oh, this guy did. Third round arm triangle submission. Okay, guys? Either way, it might have been rear naked choke that I said. But either way, submission in the third round. Early prelims opener of Ketlen Souza versus Arianne Carnelossi. Yeah, Souza just slimed out Arianne Carnelossi in the first round. I went with Ketlen Souza to win. I didn't say KO in the first round, but I thought she would get the better of Arianne Carnelossi. And she just caught her on the chin straight away in the fight. Put her down and started beating her up against the cage. Carnelossi did good to start, but Souza immediately put her away with a nasty combination finish. And yeah, the women's MMA bouts have been not too shabby recently on these cards, to be honest with you. They seem a lot more likely to finish than they did before. Maybe it's because of the matchmaking. Maybe they finally realized that they should start entertaining us, but it was a decent performance from Ketlen. It was an amazing performance. She immediately put away Arianne Carnelossi, chinned her and finished her off against the cage. Great win from her. We move on up the card. Jeisla Chavez versus Yuneisy Duben. Not a bad fight overall. Yuneisy Duben, you know, spend less time trying to go out with me and more time in the training camp, and maybe things would be different. But either way, Jeisla Chavez ended up getting it done. Crafty win over 3 rounds. Yuneisy Duben was the one out grappling her early. I skimmed over this fight in response, to be honest with you. But then as the fight went on, Jeisla Chavez was getting the better of things on the feet compared to Yuneisy Duben. Even though Duben did start okay with the takedown and kind of keeping up on the feet, it kind of just slipped away. To be honest with you, I don't know if it did. It was a split decision, to be honest. The first round could go either way. And the third round might have been Yuneisy Duben's. But Chavez got some takedowns as well. But Duben seemed a little bit busier. So to be honest with you, it was a very competitive fight. There's not too much for Yuneisy Duben to work on. We are still big fans of Yuneisy Duben, and she will make a comeback someday. But I guess Jeisla Chavez just kind of out craftied her on the feet with some ranged strikes. So it comes down to that kind of question of who did the better work on the outside and stinging the shots. So good job from Jeisla Chavez. She got it done. She nearly had a sub in round 2 as well by the looks of things. Good win, you know. We move on. Jordan Leavitt versus Joanderson Brito. I actually called this one perfectly, by the way. I don't mean to toot my own horn. I did get the main event wrong. I can't get main events right to save my life. But I did call this fight perfectly. I said, what did I say? Jordan Leavitt's going to go out there, not like things on the feet whatsoever when Brito's getting aggressive with him, and try and smush Brito up against the cage. And then I can see Brito getting one of them front choke submission wins. And what did Brito do? Go out there, get aggressive on the feet early. Jordan Leavitt did not like the aggression whenever they did exchange. Tried to push Joanderson Brito up against the cage. Panicked whenever Brito started throwing off the break, and then Leavitt would just shoot in again and fail it again and push him up against the cage again and just not be able to take him down. And then Joanderson Brito eventually, on one of those bad takedowns, latched up a front choke, a ninja choke, and subbed Jordan Leavitt in round 1. Nasty win. Great performance. To be expected, but Brito delivered as expected, which has been his problem in recent fights of his career, where he really hasn't delivered when he was a favourite or even in odds, and he's looked like he shouldn't have been in there with some of these guys. But in this fight, he was the favourite, he was expected to win, and he won exactly as I said he would, with a nasty submission win over Jordan Leavitt, who just isn't savage like Brito is savage, you know? We move on. Priscila Cachoeira versus Chelsea Chandler. Chelsea Chandler gets a takedown, hurts Priscila Cachoeira on the feet at one point as well. Puts her down, gets a takedown, and gets a rear naked choke win in the first round. We move on up the card. Bruno Silva versus Edgar Chairez. I picked Bruno Silva here. Now, I've been 100% correct the card so far. But Bruno Silva got caught lacking. Edgar Chairez is a big dude for the division. He's got long arms as well. He's got a lot of power in his hands for a flyweight. And he's a dangerous dude. I should minimize this webcam here for a second. But he's a dangerous dude, Edgar Chairez. He really is. Dangerous fighter. Knocked down Bruno Silva with an uppercut as he came in, followed up with some nasty shots, and then pounced on the back of Bruno Silva for a rear naked choke finish, and hurt him before that in the fight as well with a combination that put Bruno Silva down. So, yeah, man, he was in control out there. Bruno Silva was trying to get on the inside, and he did land some decent shots, but all of the big shots were landed by Edgar Chairez, and Bruno Silva being shorter than him. Chairez had picked those guys apart, man. I didn't see this one coming. I thought Bruno Silva would pull another crafty one out. I mean, he nearly beat Charles Johnson. He's had a lot of great performances and some decent wins in his career as well, but Chairez puts him away in round 1. This guy's got some heat in his hands at flyweight, and he took advantage of that, and he is a very opportunistic finisher when it comes to submissions. Right on the back, right on the rear naked choke. Bruno Silva's face is a mess. Amazing win from Edgar Chairez. Great first round finish. We move on. Marcus McGhee versus John Yannis. Marcus McGhee with a iffy performance compared to what he was supposed to do out there. I feel like this should have been a finish for Marcus McGhee, but it was a more competitive fight, really. Round 3, I thought he did good on the back foot, but John Yannis was pushing him back, and McGhee has slowed down before him fights against Martinez and Yan. And Yannis was supposed to be like a look good against this guy type of matchup, Marcus McGhee. And he did look good, to be fair. I may be giving him a bit too hard of a time, but it was round 2 where Yannis started keeping up in strikes a bit more and started to back Marcus McGhee up a little bit more. Round 1, I thought Marcus McGhee was in control, the faster of the two of them, but not really too much happened between them in the first round. And then round 3, actually, Marcus McGhee had a really easy time in round 3. So I guess while I was loading up the stream, the commentary were just glazing Yannis or some shit, but yeah, round 3 he actually did real fucking good, to be honest with you. But I just saw Yannis pushing him backwards, McGhee shaking out his arms a little bit. But he was stinging Yannis with the better shots on the back foot the entire time. It got a little bit competitive in the earlier rounds. Round 2, of course, the numbers came up a little bit. And Yannis kind of just plodded his way to a close, competitive decision loss. Marcus McGhee too slick, too defensively sound, making Yannis miss, rolling with the punches whenever Yannis was landing something. And did a decent job, to be fair. He did a decent job. Very good performance from Marcus McGhee. A good performance. In my opinion, we should be finishing the John Yannises of this world if he's a minus 500 favorite. And this was a bit of a mismatch, but he did style on him, look good on the back foot, and sting them with some great shots and get some decent third round experience. Listen, John Yannis, tough cunt, even though he doesn't really have the crazy skills to go with it. He's a tough guy. He's a scrapper, so good for him. Marcus McGhee gets it done. Matt Schnell versus Alessandro Costa, so little bit of an early stoppage. We got Matt Schnell complaining. We knew if Matt Schnell gets hit on the chin by anything, he's going out cold. And for a second, it looked like that was the case. Both guys landed some shots on the feet. Matt Schnell started looking real technical and sharp and trying to get his Dillashaw on. We'll talk about Belal's fucking lame head kicks that he was going for in a second. But Matt Schnell was getting crafty out there. Looking sharp, looking composed. Costa was taking his time. Eventually, Costa started landing some low kicks and some body shots on Matt Schnell and landed a right hand over the top that Matt Schnell did not like. Anything touches this guy's chin, it's problems. Even at flyweight, which is tough. And then Alessandro Costa stings him over the top with a right hand. Right on the chin. Matt Schnell goes jelly-legged on the feet, like doesn't know where he is for a second. Shoots in on a takedown reactionarily, or as a reaction to being hit on the chin by Alessandro Costa. And then, you can do this in MMA because they don't penalize fouls whatsoever. Costa does rain down shots to the back of his head. Some of them were to the side, but that's the fucking back of the head, really, isn't it? You know? Let's just call it what it is. Yeah, it might not be the perfect mohawk that they talk about as the refereeing decisions, but they are back of the head shots. Did it look like Matt Schnell was out cold? Yes. Do I understand why Herb Dean stepped in? Yes. Could he have let it go a couple of punches longer? Yes. Is the only reason Matt Schnell managed to grapple back and get to a decent position on Costa because of Herb Dean stepping in. Yes, he would have been still on that single leg, just taking punches to decide it ahead. If not, he wasn't moving at all. You can't blame Herb Dean for thinking he was out cold. They should have let it go a little bit longer, take a few more punches to the back of the fucking head, I guess. But the problem is, and I said this on Twitter, it's Matt Schnell. The guy gets hit on the chin and he goes palms up and he goes out and he's done. And I think that was a decision by Herb Dean to be like, this guy, when he does get hit, he's out, he's done. Other than against Sumedwerji, I guess. Where he did show some grit and he took some good shots. But normally if Schnell's doing that and goes forward, it's happened so many times. I think that did play a factor in Herb Dean's decision making. So yeah, Alessandro Costa by first round KO. As predicted. We move on. Iwo Bareniewski versus Junior Taffa. Great win by Iwo Bareniewski. Now, I said in my tier list video earlier this week that the Samoans, the Uso Blobs, they have a calf kick exploit. Don't go calf kick for calf kick with these guys. But let me tell you, man. Iwo Bareniewski was going right for the meat of the leg on Junior Taffa, who wasn't checking low kicks. And am I reading this correct? Taffa did not land a fucking strike on Bareniewski. And stylistically, even though Bareniewski was a favorite here, you could argue, like, you know what? Taffa's got the style to do it because he likes to grit down and clobber, and Bareniewski's the same when he trades in the pocket. But we saw Bareniewski shoot for a takedown this fight. We saw him on the outside. He went in for one punch exchange. And other than that, he didn't really try and trade in the pocket. Like, he low-kicked, he went for a takedown, and then he low-kicked again, and Taffa's leg was done. He's chinny to the legs. Straight up, Bareniewski, Taffa is chinny to the legs. Now, there's many reasons why this could have happened so easily. Against my tier list's advice, by the way, which is not to go calf kick for calf kick with him. But Taffa doesn't know how to check low kicks. That's what we saw. However, in his last fight with Kevin Christian, which was only a couple of months ago, by the way, and maybe a month ago, it really wasn't that long ago whatsoever, he was done on his leg in that fight. Like, before he got the KO, he did get his leg chewed up quite a bit by Kevin Christian. He was landing some solid calf kicks on him. But he just kind of tanked it out and landed a KO blow and clobbering timed Kevin Christian. I know Iwo Bareniewski's team were looking at that and thinking, we're going to chop his legs up. He shouldn't have stepped in there against us. We're going to go low kick for low kick. And listen, dude, legendary Polish power. They've got another one, dude. They've got another legendary Polish power guy in the UFC. 9 fights overall in his career. Another first round finish. This guy's not been past 4 minutes in the cage ever in his pro career. He's like 17-3 as an amateur. So he has a lot of amateur experience. He was a grappler as well. He has a grappling base. And he's just nuking guys out on the feet. Nasty low kick stoppage. Taffa curls up on the ground and just quits immediately and goes, "Eeh." I'm being serious. He genuinely just quit as soon as the low kick landed. I mean, at least Harry Hardwick was toughing out a few of them after his leg went dead. Taffa felt one low kick and went, and just curled up. So, Bareniewski does it again. It's time for a jump up in competition. He's in a tough division at light heavyweight because he's a smaller dude. But give him like an Alonzo Menifield or something, you know. Those are two guys that are going to slug it out. Big, powerful dudes. And it could lead to another slime out for Bareniewski. You know, he's done Austin Lane. He's done Ibo Aslan. He's done Muhammad Ali on the Contender Series. Different Muhammad Ali. And now he's done Justin Taffa. Give him a shot against a guy up in competition. Give him some time first. But maybe at the end of the year, we see Iwo Bareniewski step up. And the big leagues are calling him. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't keep letting him slime out these guys who ain't ready for him yet. We move on. Bryce Mitchell versus Santiago Luna. We are going to go to 2-3 years to Arkansas and forget. You know? Amazing performance by Bryce Mitchell. A lot of people online are saying, listen, if he was Dagestani, you'd be trashing him for this performance. But me and Bryce are boys, dude. I'm rooting for him to win. It wasn't the craziest performance in terms of damage, in terms of striking back and forth. But it was a grueling, grappling pace that he put on Santiago Luna. And Bryce Mitchell's got physicality advantage in this division, okay? I was egging on the finish in the third round because I could see it. If you're watching me on the live fight companion, I was like, come on, we can get this finish. We're going to get this finish. It looks like he's setting up the arm triangle. And you could see Bryce was thinking about it towards the end because Santiago Luna, you could see he was kind of wilting. And he did take the fight on short notice, but he looked in great shape. And he was wilting on bottom position. You know, in the first round, he kind of took the round, and then he was slower in the second. Bryce Mitchell took the first round, but Luna was kind of on bottom the whole round, and Mitchell didn't do crazy damage, but he did open up at the end of the round with some good elbows and cut Luna open on the eye. But then in the second and third round, you could see Luna, when he was on bottom position, start to wince a little bit, look up at the clock. He was getting frustrated. He couldn't really get off on the feet the way he wanted to, because let's face it, even on the feet, Luna landed some decent shots, but Bryce Mitchell was tagging him up with some decent shots. Some good punches, some good body kicks. And then at one point in round 3, I think Mitchell charged forward with a combo, and Luna was the one covering up behind his guard. Mitchell's a big dude for bantamweight. He's got a lot of physicality in the division, and he's strong in the grappling. This fight was decided based on a few moments as well, because there were a lot of like 50-50 positions, where if one guy makes an adjustment, Luna's on top for the rest of the round. But Bryce Mitchell was the one who made the adjustment, and now he's on top for the rest of the round. There was a few moments like that in this fight. You know, I think Luna had Bryce down at the start of the third. Bryce pulled guard at the start of the third because he kind of lost his momentum on a takedown or something. But then he used it to get back up to his feet, found his way back up, got his own takedown on Luna, and eventually smushed him into an arm triangle finish. We'll get to Ziam in a second. And this is the finish from Bryce Mitchell. I liked it. My comment immediately got 72 likes and then no more. Like, it got like 70 likes within the first 2 minutes and then no more since then, which is pretty interesting. I said send him 2-3 years to Arkansas and forget, brother. Great win from Bryce Mitchell, dude. This is, even though it was a short notice step up, the guy was in shape, in great shape. And shout out to Santiago Luna. He's posted me a few times on his stories. I know he's a Jerusalem affiliate as well. And, you know, shout out to him, dude. Young kid stepping up. We wouldn't have had a Bryce Mitchell fight on today's card if not for Santiago Luna. So he deserves respect as well. And, but yeah, undefeated, 8-0, Brazilian prospect, never lost, amateur career. May have lost on the amateur career, but he had, you know, he's been a focused prospect out of Brazil for a long time, and Bryce Mitchell puts him away, out grapples him and subs him. That's Said Nurmagomedov. Then it's Santiago Luna. I think I was going to say the same thing was going to happen to Victor Henry in their fight as well. I think it's time for Bryce Mitchell to get himself a name. I know his contract just ended, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So like this post, as I have done. It's got 23.9k likes. As of when I open this up, it might have some more by now, but like the posts, interact with Bryce Mitchell related stuff, let the UFC know we want to see more Bryce Mitchell in the UFC. He gets on the microphone, he goes straight to Bible verses, he immediately quotes the Bible verse that I said was my favorite when I went fishing with Bryce. You know, whom shall I send and whom will go for us? Here am I. And then he went into some other Bible verses as well. Always does that on the microphone. And then went into thanking Santiago Luna too. Class act from Bryce Mitchell. Great finish. And I'm glad he got the finish as well because he needed it. The win wasn't good enough, in my opinion. It is good enough for him. And he's going to get his extra money. And, you know, it's good enough. But we needed a bit of definitive finish. You know, that's where you seal the deal on these types of performances. And I could see the finish coming, that's why. If this was a back and forth crazy fight on the feet and they're scrambling all over the place and one guy's got so-and-so's back and then the other one's got this and, you know, you wouldn't need a finish. But in this type of fight, you could see that the finish was there for Bryce to get if he just pushed in those later rounds. And then he did. With about 10 seconds to go, he pushed for it, he found it. And Santiago Luna tapped to the arm triangle. I predicted second or third round arm triangle submission or maybe rear naked from Bryce Mitchell, but I think I mentioned the arm triangle. And Bryce Mitchell delivered. Very happy. My mum was even calling me yesterday saying, Oh no, earlier today my mum was actually calling me saying that she's worried for Bryce's fight and she really hopes that he wins because of how well he treated me when I went to the US, and you know, she's rooting for him, and I hear that he's fighting a dangerous Brazilian prospect, and I was telling her about him, and so yeah, we're all going to be great in the Guru household here. Amazing win by Bryce Mitchell. Good win, to be honest with you. It wasn't the craziest performance, but he looked good on the feet. He dominated with the grappling, and he found a submission win. What more can you ask for? Other than, I think, the big thing for Bryce Mitchell moving forward is ground and pound needs to come out a bit more in some of these moments, because there's going to be some rounds when he fights better competition where the control time isn't going to do enough. And if you want to reveal, if you want to get rid of all doubt in the judges' scorecards, just every now and then we got to post up and elbow and post up and punch. Like the ground and pound has to make a bit of an improvement. I think that's the next part of his game that he's going to work on as he moves up the bantamweight division. Get him a top opponent. Get him a step up in competition, you know. We move on. Happy about his victory regardless. Faresiam versus Tom Nolan. Faresiam, I've been hyping him up for a long time, and to be fair, he's proven me right time and time again. He was on like a 7-fight win streak or a 6-fight win streak in the lightweight division since losing to Terrence McKinney. He got kind of stunned in the first round with a takedown, and boom, McKinney's right on his back immediately in the fight. And yeah, he ended up getting choked out. But since then, he's looked great, and he's put away a lot of great opponents and looked really good against other ones as well, going the distance. Tom Nolan, on the other hand, has had his good performances, but they've been against worse opponents objectively than Ziam, and he's had tougher performances against them as well. Also lost his debut to Nicholas Motta. I don't know if Ziam lost his debut, but he lost one of his earlier fights. But Nolan lost his debut against Motta, and people kind of wrote him off a bit. But Nolan fucking dogged out Faresiam in this fight. Very tricky fight to take here from Tom Nolan. And there's a reason why he was the underdog going into it. But he straight up out-hustled Ziam. Rounds 1, 2, and 3. I thought round 3 could have gone Ziam's way, but it's still very competitive here. But I thought towards the end, Ziam was getting the takedowns, the big pick-up slams. He was hoisting Tom Nolan after reaching down for the single leg, little high crotch single, dunking him. So really good takedowns towards the end from Ziam, but they weren't enough to get the win. He needed to get a finish in that third round. Round 1 and 2, Nolan was out hustling him, was landing decent shots on the feet. Ziam started to find a bit of range at the start of round 2 with his right hand, but Nolan was cracking him with these like lunging shots, like knees, kicks would partially land. I don't know if I've got a picture of one of the head kicks that Tom Nolan landed here on Faresiam. Or maybe this was a wheel kick, to be honest with you. But yeah, it was the second round that really changed the fight, right? That trip in the second round definitely cost him the fight. It did. It was the knees, and it wasn't a trip like, oh, he just fell over. I think once he landed, he didn't have urgency to get back up, and he kind of just laid to his back and let Nolan on top of him for the rest of that round, because just before his leg kind of went and he fell on bottom in round 2, Tom Nolan hit him with some brutal knees to the body in the clinch, and you saw him kind of go funny, and then his leg slipped. So he did slip in round 2, but there was no like urgency to like pop right back up or like roll over, or it wasn't like a guy who's not hurt whatsoever falling down in a fight, you know, and immediately trying to get back up. It was a guy going over, but also being like, oh, I better stay here for a bit. Nasty knees to the body from Tom Nolan. Crafty with the kicks at range. Hustling with the takedowns as well. Had some good moments on top in round 1. Busy on top. At one point, I think in round 2, Faresiam was trying to Kimura him. So he just postured up and found his way out of it and still landed good shots on top of Faresiam. Massively improved Tom Nolan, by the way. This was the best Tom Nolan we've ever seen. Because I've seen other performances of Tom Nolan, and he's won them. Even the fights that he's won by finish, I've thought he doesn't seem like too comfy in there yet. But this fight, in the first 2 rounds, he seemed very confident and comfortable in the fight. You know, getting takedowns on for SCM, picking him up, even just like finding positions where it only happens with comfort in the cage. Like Ziam would throw a shot and Nolan would slip round the side of him and get the body lock on this type of takedown and use it to slam him to the canvas. So, yeah, Nolan was just doing some crafty shit out there, man. He pulled out his bag of tricks, crafty moves, and he outdogged Ziam in the first 2 rounds. Third round, he started slowing down a little bit. Still landing arguably the better shots on the feet. I don't know what the significant strikes were. Yeah, still landing arguably the better shots on the feet. But Ziam started getting more control time and takedowns and doing some busy punches from those positions. He even tried his elbow off the break of the clip. He actually tried to elbow Nolan in the back of the head in the 3rd round. So fuck for SCM, to be honest with you. He looked at the back of the head of Tom Nolan at the 3rd round, knew he needed a finish, and just tried to deliberately elbow him in the back of the head. So fuck that guy, dude. Little worm-bodied freak. Nolan could have had more takedowns as well in this fight, but Ziam's built such like a worm that he couldn't get his hands like under his hips or his ass, like when he was trying to go for a double leg. So his arms would just slide all the way up Ziam's worm body. Fuck for Ziam, actually. That elbow at the end was such a blatant, I'm going to elbow him in the back of the head and try and get away with it move. Bullshit. Great win from Tom Nolan, though. Called out Renato Moicano. Difficult fight. I'm going to be honest, Moicano has proven time and time again that he can shut down a prospect or two very easily. But we'll see what's next for him. He's definitely going to be in the rankings. So I'd imagine a ranked opponent should be next. At least. We move on to another fight up the card, which was Brendan Allen versus Edmen Shahbazyan. This was probably the best fight of the card in terms of like a back and forth scrap. I don't know if it ended up winning a performance bonus at all. Oh, I've lost everything. I don't know if it ended up winning a performance bonus, but it was definitely the best fight on the card. Back and forth, both guys landing good shots. Wasn't anything crazy though, which goes to show how little competitive great fights there were on this card. Because the numbers are still quite reasonable. 3rd round, Brendan Allen started taking over. 2nd round, I thought he got the 2nd round as well. Edmen Shahbazyan had his hands in the air at the end of this fight, and he was confused at the decision being called. So I don't know what the fuck they were telling him in his corner. He clearly lost the 2nd and the 3rd round. I could see giving him the 1st. Brendan Allen actually could have won the 1st. He was landing good shots on Edmen Shahbazyan early. But then Edmen stung him with some like powerful ones later in the round that got Allen's reaction and were more of the ooh and ah moments of the round. So I thought Edmen did okay there. But Brendan Allen poured it on him in the 2nd and 3rd with damage, with elbows on the break from the clinch. Edmen was backing up a lot more, nose bleeding a lot more, cut on the eye, cut on the side of the head. He had a lot more visible damage than Brendan Allen did, and Allen's shots were affecting him more than Edmen's shots were affecting Allen in round 2 and 3. You know, Allen finished strong in the 2nd. He finished strong in the 3rd. He even ended it with a takedown as well for good measure. And he plodded his way forward and popped his jab. And Shahbazyan, in my opinion, when it comes to Edmen Shahbazyan, some people had it 30-28. What the fuck are you talking about? 30-27? I don't understand. I could see the 1st round going Allen's way, but I think it went Edmen's way, by the way. Shahbazyan showed he... Dude, what are the... Okay, there's the Belal one. What the fuck are the comments here about Shahbazyan? I mean, it was a competitive fight, but in my honest opinion, when it comes to Edmen Shahbazyan, he's worried about things in the cage. You can't do that. You just can't fight that way. Some people can, but to let it limit your performance so much is not allowed, man. In my opinion, Edmen Shahbazyan was waiting for the first takedown to happen to see if he could stuff it before he started letting his hands go in round 1. And he gave up so much time getting outstruck by Brendan Allen before that. And then he was almost very timidly waiting to see what Allen was going to do too much. And he's on the back foot and he's second guessing throwing combinations in the counter. And there would be times where Allen would miss and he would be right there in front of Allen ready to counter and he wouldn't let his hands go and he would just hold on in the clinch and then get elbowed in the chin. Like, it was a reasonably competitive fight, but I think Brendan Allen in a striking match over 3 rounds where he can't get a takedown is an extremely beatable opponent. He's actually quite underrated in some ways, Brendan Allen. But yeah, no kicks from Shahbazyan. He worked the body quite well here and there. But Allen just outdogged him. He just pushed more where Edmen wasn't willing to go. And Edmen has always slowed down as fights go on. So Brendan Allen with another, in my opinion, 29-28. Crafty performance over 3. Mixed up the strikes here and there. Couldn't really get his takedowns, but he didn't try too many times. We'll get to Belal Muhammad in a second, the fucking idiot. But yeah, Brendan Allen gets it done. Great win. Called out Strickland. You're not getting Strickland for beating an unranked opponent at this point in the middleweight division where there's so many matchups. So yeah, I'm not sure what Brendan Allen's going to be looking at next. Maybe Joe Pyfer? Maybe a Joe Pyfer matchup could be happening. You never know. But great win from him, as predicted. 29-28 decision victory. We move on. Belal Muhammad versus Gabriel Bonfim. I mean, the numbers say it. Belal Muhammad got picked apart for 5 rounds. Bonfim laughing in his face the entire time. Belal never shot takedowns. I don't want to sound like this type of guy because I remember the narrative that Belal never shot takedowns against JDM while I'm watching him shoot 9 takedowns on JDM. Belal just never shot takedowns like he normally does while I'm seeing Ian Gary stuff the takedowns. Belal's always shot about 5 to 7 takedowns in his career. Okay? He goes for him. Every round he'll try it out. But in this fight with Gabriel Bonfim, first 2 rounds are down and I'm thinking, what the fuck is Belal's game plan? He thinks he can strike and cause damage to another human. And I had it 50-45, Gabriel Bonfim. There was a close round in round 2, I believe. I'm going to check back the numbers here just to see if it was the round I was thinking of. No, it was round 1, maybe it was. Yeah, it was round 1. Where maybe I could see Belal winning it. Where Bonfim, was sticking in with the jab and landing some good low kicks. But Belal was also stinging him with some good right hands early. But Belal, you have no power in your hands. That needs to be said to him in his corner. You have no ability to harm a human other than Sean Brady on the feet. And I have no idea how Sean Brady quit that easily. And you still couldn't drop him. Brady's just like completely wilting, don't like it. Looking like a baby on the feet against him. And Belal's just swinging and swinging and swinging and no damage is being done. 190-pound human, by the way, throwing punches at someone who's completely out of it. And they're not getting dropped, no matter how much he lands. Belal, you're not going to win this fight by catching Bonfim and KOing him. I don't know what you thought was going to happen here. Bonfim stinging him with a jab early, landing low kicks. I know the low kicks were adding up on Belal Muhammad. It didn't look like he was ever too hurt by them, but they did start to add up as the fight went on, and you could see him switching stances a bit, and Bonfim was landing them a lot. Belal Muhammad, towards the end of the fight, started landing some decent body kicks. But man, look at the numbers. Just going more and more in favor of Gabriel Bonfim every single round. He was just stinging him up, catching him on the chin. Belal's got actually a hell of a chin, When he got KO'd by Vicente Luque years ago, I thought, oh, it's going to happen again. Somebody's going to KO Belal Muhammad again. Let's wait until it happens. And then he even got wobbled by Luque in the second fight that they had as well. And I was thinking, oh, anytime he gets clipped, it's trouble. But he actually does have a really underrated chin for the game. But the problem Belal has is that I don't know why he wasn't grappling this fight. Round 1, 0 takedowns attempted. Round 2, 0 takedowns attempted. Round 3, he tried to immediately take down Bonfim. Nearly had it, but Bonfim managed to stuff the takedown, laughed in his face about it. And then he tried again a weak attempt in the clinch of a takedown as well. But then round 4, none. Round 5, none. Bear in mind, he's down the whole fight. Then at the end of the fight, he's got his hands in the air. Like he's won the fight. It was one of them performances, and we've seen them time and time again at welterweight recently, where you were like, how the fuck was this guy a world champion? How did Edwards beat Usman? How bad was Usman really? 2 defenses against Covington, one that was arguably a draw, by the way. 2 defenses against Masvidal, one great KO, but one of them when Masvidal took it on like 2 days' notice, and he went 5 rounds with him and lost a round. Then he beat Gilbert Burns. That's it. Then Leon Edwards, you're watching his fights thinking, how is this guy a world champion? He's probably going to be an Uros Medic victim at some point in the future. Like, the welterweight champs of old have taken a slide, and the only one who hasn't is Usman, because the Chimaev loss was quite good for him. But it turns out if you have got the grappling defense, Chimaev is going to slow down against you as things go on, no matter what condition you're in. Strickland did it with one fucking arm. Usman did it on a week's notice as well. Made him look human at least. Strickland actually beat him. But Usman's just been surviving in the division by not fighting anyone and being very inactive. Then you got JDM. Oh my god, this makes JDM look bad. It makes Ian Gary look bad. Belal, the slide of Belal is so tough to see. I was watching this fight and I was thinking, in other fights he shot takedowns. But Belal just looked like a unranked fighter out there trying to figure things out. This is a guy that got broke by Nicholas Dalby in Gabriel Bonfim, who took an old wonder boy who had like a bad leg in that fight, or maybe Bonfim had the bad leg during the fight from kicks, who took him to a very close decision that he arguably shouldn't have won. You know? And Belal Muhammad's out there swinging punches at him, and I'm just thinking, other than a few moments in round one where he stung him with right hands, nothing you do is causing this guy pain in any way whatsoever. Somebody needs to sit down Belal and tell him you're not going to score a KO, little bro. You're not capable of harming a human with your punches. It was sad to see. And that's why Bonfim was laughing in his face every round. Imagine that for Gabriel Bonfim. Biggest fight of your career. Former champion Belal Muhammad. Or former champion. Main event, massive fight, biggest fight of your career. In any other circumstance, that would be a terrifying moment full of nerves. Bonfim was taking punches off Belal and laughing in his face like you genuinely can't hurt me for shit. At one point in round 5, it looked like Belal got a reaction out of a body kick that he threw. But other than that, he was like, look at the position he's in. Look at the position Belal Muhammad is in. Look at where his knee is while he takes this right hand on the chin. Look at where his punch is. I mean, seriously, analyze this picture. What is the plan? You're sideways in the air with your arms outstretched away from your chin. He was trying to... Oh my god. I need TJ Dillashaw. I need TJ Dillashaw to walk into gyms and just look for people trying to copy him and tell him, you're not me, little bro. I swear to God, I need TJ Dillashaw saying, you'll never be TJ Dillashaw, to a lot of people in MMA. There are so many fighters in MMA that think they're TJ Dillashaw, and you're not. And that just goes to show how good he was. Yes, he was on the sauce, but it does go to show technically how good he was on the feet. Because so many times in this fight, I saw Belal try and do that little step in to a lead head kick at the end, whiffing it completely. I think he landed on the toes on Bonfim once. One of them got partially blocked, but it was so slow and predictable compared to what TJ was pulling off in his prime. Like, dude, TJ needs to let these guys know, you're not me, little bro. Grapple. Just shoot your takedowns and pop your jab, you know? But yeah, Belal was... Sorry. There is this look on Belal's face. Listen, I know it's sad because his career is coming to an end. But he has got to be the funniest fighter to see panicked in the octagon. JDM gets this look of like, oh God, I can't believe I'm actually angry at myself for losing this. Like, he gets proper down on himself, you know? But he'll still be out there trying to throw. But Belal Muhammad will get stung with a punch and go like the panic on his face while he gets hit sometimes is some of the funniest fucking shit ever. And look at Bonfim. This was like every round he was doing this shit. That he was landing on Belal and going, former champ, just stinging him with a jab, landing a low kick. Belal throws a punch that does no damage. He was healing Bonfim with his damage. I wouldn't be surprised if this was in round 5. No marks on Bonfim. And look how much Belal landed on him as well. 13 the first round, 20 the second, 14 the third, 17 the fourth, 22 the fifth. Most of them body kicks and punches to the face. Bonfim did not give a shit about any of them. 1 round, Belal shot a takedown him. And this is a guy in Bonfim who got held against a cage by Nicolas Dalby and had takedowns shot on him against Nicolas Dalby and completely gassed in a round and a half and broke and got subbed or finished by TKO. But he broke in the fight completely because Dalby put it on him. But Belal would get to him and then start shuffling around like he's Canelo. Like genuinely he fell into the Canelo hands hype. And it's sad because he's done now. And the blueprint has been written by JDM, the great JDM. But yeah, the welterweight division is changing, dude. Gabriel Bonfim in the top 5. And I know it's not just me. It feels like this with every division. Eventually, the guys are just way bigger. And yes, they're better, but Bonfim jabbed and low-kicked his way to victory this fight. You know? He jabbed and low-kicked his way to victory. It feels like sometimes in MMA, a larger new amount of fighters just come along. Morales, 6'3", Ian Gary, and, you know, Carlos Prates looks massive compared to JDM. And I was thinking, at one point, I was thinking, damn, Belal looks big next to JDM. You know? JDM's actually quite big. Look at how he looks next to Gilbert Burns. Covington. Usman was a big welterweight at one point. Now I feel like he'd get dwarfed by a lot of these guys. It's crazy how that works out. But great win from Gabriel Bonfim. I had it 50-45. I didn't give Belal a single round. You can argue the first, but Belal just gets his face pinged off for 5 rounds straight, gets his leg chewed up, and does nothing to change it. No adjustments made whatsoever. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle Pip. See you later. Goodbye. I went 0-1, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, with the perfect way of it happening. And the perfect way of it happening, by the way. 3-2, first round finish. 4-2, first round KO. 5-2, 5-3, 6-3, 7-3, 8-3, 9-3. 9-3 ain't too bad. We're back. UFC Fight Night Freedom 250 coming soon. That's the big one. See you later, guys. Goodbye.